everyone, and welcome to this Quick Chat with Zion Adeoye, the CEO and Managing Partner at CLG, formerly Centurion Group, a law firm based in Johannesburg and specializes in energy sector legal matters. It's good to have you here, Zion. How are you?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Now, on today's Quick Chat, Zion will be shedding light on a developing story where Africa's leading energy advocacy group, the African Energy Chamber, has announced plans to take legal action against Europe and North American banks and non-banking institutions for their refusal to fund African oil and gas projects. We'll discuss the legal implications, potential outcomes, and the broader impact on Africa's energy future. Now, give me some background to this decision by the African Energy to litigate global institutions that are promoting the boycott of investments in Africa's oil and gas industry.
Thank you. For those close to the matter, and I think this should be everyone interested in the economic development of Africa, I think it's high time for something to be done about the paucity of funds for African energy projects, especially in the oil and gas space. Now, that's a resource that key nations in Africa have in abundance. And the paucity of funds means that these nations are unable to generate revenue, are unable to work on energy security, and certainly the economic development of the continent. Three main issues. I think it boils down to the violation of the sovereign rights of these nations to develop their natural resources. Also, there's discriminatory application of the ESG policies or whatever policies have been developed by these institutions in determining where financing flows will go to. And thirdly, certainly Africa cannot develop without energy, also without the revenue generated from these sources. So it's a major issue, and we feel nothing could be more justiciable than this.
Right. You have mentioned very key points and what led to that litigation. Now, how many institutions are you looking to litigate, and what is the time you are working towards to achieve this?
Yeah, we're not applying, a broad brush. Certainly, we're going after institutions who are also benefiting from Africa on a large scale. With one hand, benefiting from the operations in Africa, and the other hand, stifling African projects for funds. And we will make that distinction in our approach to whatever institutions to ensure that we have some declarations and we have something that African nations can bank on to start to get the necessary revenue for development of oil and gas and energy projects.
Now, you have mentioned something very significant there, but I want us to delve into the legal strategy here. What specific areas are you looking to present before the international courts? Would you be asking damages or compensation? If yes, I'm wondering how much you're looking at.
I'll leave some of the, legal strategy to our consultation with the technical experts, which are ongoing, but nothing is off the table. What we are trying to achieve is that at the end of the day, the right pushback is heard in appropriate fora to ensure that there is a declaration that funding, forms part of the responsibility and obligations, and also the declaration in terms of trade with these institutions and the nations they come from in terms of what they are to bring to the table for the benefit they also derive from the continent. And that the discriminatory policies are unconscionable. And the fact that Africa will continue to push back on this and perhaps sever, ties and relationships with whichever institutions continue to perpetuate this discriminatory policies.
Now, for me, I would posit that this would have far-reaching consequences, like I said, an implication for Africa's oil and gas future. Now, what will the outcome of the litigation for you? How will it impact Africa's oil?
Yeah, starting from the top, revenues, financing will now flow to appropriate projects. Africa is interested in clean energy. But as of today, this has been said over and over again. 600 million people do not have access to energy. Now, if you want Africa to go ahead and, procure more expensive technology and technologies in terms of energy, where the base revenue does not exist, that's almost impossible. That's taking Africa back to the dark ages. And also the science, in terms of what the ESG policies propagate, is problematic. Africa currently constitutes less than 5% of global emissions. And I tell you that if all of the oil and gas developed, the oil and gas reserves we have in Africa today were to be developed over, the usual period of 20 to 30 years, will still fall below 8% of global emissions. That means not calculating, what advantages and efficiencies will occur because of advanced technologies, also carbon capture technologies that exist today and things like that. So the argument on the ESG policies are not sound, cannot be backed by science. And therefore, we consider this financial appetite, if you could, if we're being frank.
Now, there will be significant pushbacks. Already there are pushbacks and resistance from all corners, right? Now, what level of resistance against this historic battle are you expecting from the global and oil and gas firm activists?
I mean, there'll be pushback from certain quarters. Certainly, the environmentalists will continue to push back. You've seen what's happened in East Africa with the AEC. You've seen what's happened in Mozambique, which could be the top three largest producer of gas in the world. You've seen what's happening in South Africa, where you cannot even shoot seismic. But other parts of the world continue to develop oil and gas. The United States is the highest producer of oil and gas currently in the world. So we'll have the pushback, what we'll deal with it accordingly when it comes.
Thank you so much for your time today, Zion Adeoye, and managing partner, the former Centurion Law Group located in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And it's goodbye for now, everyone. Bye-bye.